If you want to sit at the table, pull up a chair. Welcome to Let's Bring It to the Table, where we talk about how to enhance our lives by addressing issues that specifically impact our life. Today, we have Alois on. So welcome Alois on to Let's Bring It to the Table. So, Alois, know what today's topic is?
Yeah, Gen Z.
I feel like they out of space. And that's the title. Out of space with Gen Z. A lot of people, when we talk about the Gen Z generations, it is some people, some parents think that their kids are like their best friend, which, I think those are somebody that's about at the end of our generation, the younger of our generation, going into millennials who feel that way. Because I myself do not believe a child can be your best friend. You're trying to raise that child, you're trying to mold that child. And kids tend to think that if you're like a best friend or whatever, they can talk to you any kind of way, do you any kind of way, and it just don't work for me. What do you think?
I think that, I have seen it now in my eyes through my kids sometimes, that they think they know everything and they can walk over you. I had dealing with that. Excuse my friend. I had to jack. He was in control. What he was talking about, I did not know anything. So I had to put him back in place. Respect me as a mother. So I had to put him back in place, and he realized when I down to earth, he sure did. The better person, grown, better.
Yeah, that's true. These kids today, a lot of people, they don't get it. If you look at the ranking of the U.S. Generation, as they say, with the ones who have the power and the influence, Gen Z's is not the one. I think this was done last year, May 6th. They did this demographical thing that they put together, and the Gen Zs, which are ages, and I thought it was older than this, but they said Gen Z ends at their ages are 9 to 24. These kids is 3.7% when it comes to influential generation of power and wealth. It's the Gen X, which is us. It's 30%, 30.4% that has more power. But the baby boomers, which is like my dad and them, theirs is 38.6%. They have way more power from the ages of 57 to 75. They're most likely to be more wealthy, influential in their generation and everything. So they have the most power, but we come in a good close second. The millennials are at 14.5. And this is dealing with economic, political, and culture of this variable that they put together. I feel like our Gen Z kids are the ones who, I thought it was the millennials, but I think the Gen Zs are the ones who have the attitude of can't nobody tell me nothing.
True.
I really believe that they are the ones who really believe. Now, I remember back in my day, I still sometimes feel this way, that I'd rather go on and bust my head a couple of times. At least I learned the lesson. I don't need you to try to keep me from it. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to deter me from doing what I feel is right. You give me that warning shot, I'll watch out or whatever. But if I end up falling, I'm willing to take that fall. I'm willing to take it all, good, bad, and ugly. And I think sometimes the generational Z kids feel mostly that way. They like, this is just how it's gonna be. Millennials are I would call the reasons. They more reasoned with their rhyme of madness. They get misunderstood mostly. But the Gen Z, that's a whole nother entity in itself when it comes to this.
Yes, true. Definitely true. They can on the word, I'll do what they want to do.
And that's perfectly said. You basically said exactly what it is. They have the characteristics, but the one thing I do admire about the Gen Zs, and I laugh about this when I say this, that's the generation that when they were born, they had computers in their hands. They knew more about computers before they could walk, before they could talk. They knew how to get in. My son, when he was little, when I told him he couldn't get on the computer, he locked me out. I had spent hundreds of dollars to get somebody to unlock my computer. And he was a kid. He was like, "Well, you didn't want me on there. You can't get on it either." But this is the generation we deal with. These kids don't know anything about a dial-up phone, the phone being on the wall, or how to dial a phone. They don't know anything about that. They don't know nothing about no pagers and the different things that we did. They don't really know about outside like we do.
True.
The millennials got a little bit of it. Us, our generation, we were the ones who were raising ourselves.
Right.
Or we were raising other kids. Or we were just living life freely, out just going all over the place.
Yeah.
But we were the most responsible ones. Huh?
Yeah, I said we respect our elders. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
The older people respect them more. They don't respect them today. They walk
that's true.
over the older people.
Yeah. And I can say that's like the majority. No matter how you try to instill in them,
mm-hmm.
they feel like, and I've heard them say, if they don't give me respect, I'm not going to respect them. And I'm like, it is not even about that. This is somebody that's older. Regardless of how you feel about what is said, it still do not give you the right. And anytime that a kid or a younger person can feel that they can run over somebody that's older, you think about what they'll do to you when you get to that place.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you're their parent.
Yeah.
I've seen videos where these kids, like there was a video out where the girl with the pink head beat down her grandmama. Are you serious? You in this woman's house. Is this what we doing now?
That's bad. Respect.
But I do know this much about Gen Zs too, that they are going to be, if they get it together, they are more financially focused than any of us could be. They are the byproducts of us.
Yes,
by watching us and our savings in a short period of time of how we do things, even during the market crash, and how some people struggle through that, and they seen money disappear. They understand. So their drive for financial freedom is way different than ours. I think this is the generation that will be, more outsourcing to build their own, and it's showing.
Right.
Even after COVID, is showing that this is what they do.
That's true.
And they see, and the Gen Z, which is like the millennials, they see their job as a means to an end. It's only for a certain period of time of how they want to see things, but I don't think they even think that there's a such thing as a dream job, like we had been how they had told oh, get you an education, go do this, go do that, and get your dream job, which ain't no such thing as a dream job. I can concur to that, and I can get down with them based off of that right there, because when you sit up and you work all these years, and then the only thing you waiting for retirement, and you 65 and 70 years old, and the only thing you waiting on now is your deathbed. It's pretty sad when you don't want to live your life. These kids are traveling. These kids are out here getting it. They're doing the doggone thing. They actually, like the millennials, are getting out here and being adventurous, and we're the only ones who are dedicated to the job. We go home, we take care of family, and we work. Go home, we work. Sometimes we'll take a trip. Maybe it'll be 2 or 3, maybe 5 years before we take another trip. We're the ones who don't know how to live our lives in the way that they do. We wait until we don't finish playing the Huxtables or the Brady Bunch, And then when the kids get gone, if they're not dumping their children off on us, then we're trying to go out there and live what we got left. Some of us, others just want to sit there and just wait till death. But that's just programming. So there's nothing we can do about that. But for the most part, because I've seen it where this one lady was retiring, and she didn't know what she was going to do with herself. And I'm looking at her. You gave this company. You've been at this company since you were 18 years old. You don't know nothing else. And now you retiring. You 67 and you don't know what to do with yourself. Yeah, I don't think the Gen Zs are willing to go that route.
Yeah. They mindset when they say they don't know what they're gonna do, and that's why a lot of them end up. But down the road, they end up going to Walmart or somewhere, being a host or something. I have seen that happen because they be bored, and they don't know how to find other options to do. Instead they doing other options, they go to the part-time job. Like I see a lot, they end up at Walmart, being a greeter or doing something else at Walmart.
I don't think the Gen Z group is going to be doing that because with that. Go ahead.
They're gonna keep the Gen Z people. They want a hand out. It's all about, like I said, it's all about them. They want things to go either your way, the highway.
Right.
And
and they do. There's some that do, and I've seen testimonial of videos of that. Exactly what you're saying. There was a girl who videotaped her mom in a rant, but her mom was working and providing.
Right.
And she had the nerves because someone said something to her, and she was like, "I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for her to get this house. Them ain't my dishes, but you the one that dirtied them. You and your sister, y'all dirtied the dishes, but you expect your mom to go." As a nurse, work 16-hour days and come home to a dirty house that nobody's in it but you. She gets up and she goes to work. Y'all go to school and come home and you mess up the house, and your expectation is for her to cook, clean, and take care of whatever needs y'all want. And you're living in her home. She gave you a room that y'all call my room. I call it free rentable space that you need to get out of when you start to think like that. But that's how those, now there is a set that think like that. I just think that set were born while the moon was red and the dogs were howling, and they were born ass backwards. I just really feel that with them because they really think that something's owed to them.
Yeah.
And there's nothing is owed to you. I mean, we got to work for everything we want. But for the most part, it's also being said that this generation is the ones who, because they are technology bound, they're the ones who are out here, which is true, because I've seen some teenagers that've done it. They're creating apps in their free time, and some of them are becoming overnight millionaires. They have, they know there's money out there to be made, and they got the ideas, and they're not afraid to run with it. Whereas with our generation, we don't know how to step out on faith. I don't even know with them if it's faith or whatever. It's just that they got this drive about them that they're not finna allow nobody to stop them, even if it's a bold decision and we sitting up there swallowing our throats down and trying to figure out, is this the right move for them, or is they gonna end up getting hurt or something, and they're willing to just go out there and just do it. Those who are like that. When I said they were born with the cell phones and the internet, they were born with, they know how to work that stuff.
They sure do. I ain't got to go no.
They sure don't. They know. But it's funny, but like I said, if you put a phone, the old timey phones as we call it, in their face, a lot of them, there's videos out there, them kids didn't know what to do with that. They didn't know what to do with that. And one kid, they had showed them the, you remember the phone booths outside where you had to put the coin in and dial? They didn't know what, they was like, why is that out there? What is this? It's funny to see that these kids never saw stuff like this. They don't know anything about that. And it's real funny to me, you know. And and for the most part, they also say that, and this is the TTI Success Insight, their blog about Gen Z, and they were saying that these are the most face-to-face interaction. They do more face-to-face interaction than we did. Even though we were out there playing, but as getting grown, they it doesn't always have to take place in the same physical location. They don't mind being on Skype or FaceTime or all those contraptions where a lot of us might hinder from it because we feel like we supposed to look a certain way because we still live in that age of letting our representatives show where they gonna let, at least we know when they're coming because they show who they truly are. They don't mind. They can be anywhere in the world. They can talk to someone in Spain. They don't mind it. They have no fear in that. Whereas we have a second thought most of the time.
Yes.
And the only thing that's the difference between them and us is the reduction of the amount of eye contact. They were born with a device in their hand, and looking down, whereas we are willing to speak with eye contact. And a lot of them can't hold that true eye contact because they lack it because they weren't taught. And I think that we failed them on that. I remember I used to have to tell my son all the time, pick your head up. You don't never look down when you talking to nobody. You look them dead in the eye. You let them know you're a black man. You let them know who you are. But a lot of kids they can't. You know, they can't look people in the face.
Mm.
And some people do take that as a sign of disrespect or they're not interested, but that's not the case. It's just that, that's what they're used to is having that phone in their hand and they looking down in it, as they talk. Think about it. When you're at the table, what do? If you don't tell them no phones at the table, that's what they do. Down at it. And these kids are also very competitive, which is not a bad thing. But it's just how they do it. They are not, they're willing to get out there and to play in the sports or debate whatever they need to debate to get where they're going. They don't mind. They're driven, just like you are, Lois. They're driven by competition.
Mm-hmm.
They're driven. They
Yeah,
don't have any fear about it.
that's me. Mm-hmm.
Mhm. And they also like change. A lot of them, they really like change. It might not seem like it with some, but for the most part, they seem to like change. They're not the ones that would sit there and twiddle their thumb. It's almost like a spontaneous effect with them, and depending on their mentality of what they'll rally behind, they can move. They welcome the change. They have that, and they are the most diverse group when it comes to race and sexual orientation, and even with religion. They're willing to get out there and try things. They claim they want to prefer independence, but I just, that to me, I
Oh,
got
but
it. I don't see it sometimes. You want to be independent, but you still want to be dependent on your parents. Some
yes,
people.
definitely.
Oop, I didn't have the chat up. I do apologize for that. Someone said, laughing out loud, you so country. Oh, that's Liz. Whatever. Then she said, but this Generation Z is crazy. No hope for them. You think they crazy, Liz? Yeah, I remember you saying that. They is also say they just bold and have a lot of audacity. That's true. They do. They do have a lot of audacity. And yeah, I remember because this is Liz's topic because she wanted to talk about them Gen Z kids because they do. They have a lot of audacity. They are crazy. I was just trying to help them out a little bit and give them a little encouragement because because it's a lot of negative
Yeah, it is.
with these kids. But the one thing about it though, Liz, because I think you're a millennial. You might get it, you might not. The Gen Z kids are no more is not much different than us, the older ones, the generational X. Per them, it's just that they have a different way about it. They're not as mature as we are when we are where they age, but they just have an unorthodox way about how they do things, versus us and how we do. They don't, and sometimes I guess we call it crazy is because of the fact that they're always open to new ideas, the change in strategy, that fleeting second of how they gut instinct work. And I don't even know if they do a lot of research though when you think about that. But chances are, these techno geeks, as I call them, are they unique, and they are no. It's just their attitudes is different than the millennials. That's the way I see it. Millennials are tech savvy. Almost everything that I was saying, millennials are basically almost that way as well. The younger set of millennials versus the older set, they're almost just as savvy as the ones. But I do know that with the millennials were the why, I call them the why kids, because they want to know why this, why that, why this is done. They was always, very into learning and understanding things, and getting their money. So it wasn't nothing for them to try something new or take risk. That's how the millennials were set up. But the Gen Z, they have some, like I said, they have some unique characters about them. They do, and Gen Zs also say that the world, they never felt safe in this world because of the things that go on, especially the black ones. They're looking at everything that has happened and how it's just okay, of what's going on, and they're not understanding that they're not really, they question that, and they never felt safe in this world because of the fact of the different things that has taken place, like with George Floyd and the different black people that have been killed in a way that it would make you feel unsafe. We live with that all our lives, but it's become our norm, which is really pathetic to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that we should have never been accepting of. It was something we should have came together and did something about it. But that's a whole nother story on that. Alois, is there anything else you would like to say about these Gen Zs?
No, my thing with the Gen Z, another thing about the Gen Z, they also keep stuff to themselves. They don't want to share anything. They and you and you ask them for help, just give them the thing, they'll do it and stop you from. I have seen that
Yeah.
with my daughter. She's a Gen Z. She's very smart, intelligent. But when it comes to tell her she wants to show me something, she don't want to show me to give me the thing. That's okay.
They don't have patience. That's what all that is. They don't
No,
have
they don't.
patience.
Yeah, that's the only thing I have to
That's
say
how they
about that.
roll. They don't have patience.
Yeah.
They're beautiful kids. They're good kids in their own right, but
Mm-hmm.
they can run
Yeah.
your nerves. I know mine's run my nerves. Sometimes I wonder what I'm dealing with, But on the top part, they're good kids. It's just that they need to learn how to understand things and stop making these assumptions of what they think about us when all we have is our best interest in them and wanting the best in them. Sometimes, it doesn't hurt to listen. I listen to a lot of things that I never agreed with, but I always kept it in the back of my head. And when it come up, I was like, oh, okay, so this is this. And then I'll be like, okay, now it's a decision. Do I want to see if I can do it a different way than what was told to me? And 9 out of 10, that's what I would do.
Oh, I have to say about them. I also they very intelligent. They'll care about their business, but when it comes down to they come get have some problem in their life, they tell everybody what they do, what's wrong, what's right. But when it comes down to them, they don't want to hear. They
Well,
do
you
not
know
want to
what? To
hear
come to
that.
their defense on that, I get it. I get it. I do. I get it. It might not seem right,
No.
but I can understand it. I
Yeah,
get it.
I
But
don't get
that's
it because
just the way it bounces. Because even as a little girl, I would tell it, I would tell things, but I never would tell on myself. I never would tell on myself. So I get it. Why would
yeah,
I put my, especially if the lesson that I was taught was you gonna whoop me because I'm telling you the truth. I ain't gonna never tell on myself just so you can whoop me. Let's talk. And I never did that with my son. If he told me he accidentally did something or something happened and he was being honest and not lying, there was no repercussion. We just talked and I gave that warning shot. You do it again, ain't ain't nothing coming back from that. You gonna have to suffer the consequence.
but I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is like for my daughter, instant advice to everybody about their life, what they do in their life. But when it come down to her life, nobody give her no advice. Just where she is.
I
But
know.
she wants everybody. But it's all crazy.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. They do give good advice. Mine's is that way too. He can give the best advice, but he can't follow none of it. He don't. I mean, he's in his own little bubble. So I get what you're
You hear them
saying.
there.
Because they don't
You hear
think it
them
affects them in that way. You
correct.
know. But like I said, it is a comparison to how we are. Because I can always speak about me. I can't speak about nobody else. My transparency
Right.
probably has caused more issues than anything, but so what? It is what it is. That's life. And so that's how we end up being sometimes. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
It might not make sense. That's just how we are. If I've already done it and that advice don't work for me, I'm not gonna do it again. It don't work for me. But I've seen where it worked for others, so I'll give it to them. You know,
Right.
That's just the way it crumbles. They'll tell you don't touch a snake, but they ain't scared of snake and they'll touch it. I ain't gonna do it. you know,
Hmm.
that's just how they are.
Yep.
But for the
True.
most part, they're good kids. I have to say they are good kids.
Very
You know,
smart.
stubborn, crazy, have some audacity about themselves. Hard headed is all get out, but and can
Yes.
get on your nerves. And for those of that generation that's just blatantly just disrespectful and thinks people owe them stuff, life gonna teach you a hard lesson, and you gonna reap what you sow. You gonna get it. You are gonna get it. And so now we're gonna go into our second half. Uh, I know a lot of people out there saw me post some stuff. We had did this in a two-part because we knew talked about Gen Z wasn't gonna take a whole hour. But so me, I have to always go back to black people. We gotta do better. So I put two posters out there on Facebook. One is a story that has been going on for the longest. So how they talk about Black Friday, and they said that Black Friday was the day. Why it was called Black Friday was because of the sale of the slaves that they would sell, black people. So even with that being said, there I'm gonna go like this. Whether
Mm.
it's true, whether it's true or not, I don't believe we would ever know because we do not hold the narrative of our own history. The history that's given, the history that we have, is all that we have of what the knowledge we have of the books that we're able to read based off that. But when you have a history that's been wiped and then you got these places, see, that's why I don't deal with Snoop. I don't deal with Polyfax. I don't deal with Fat Check. As a black person, if you're going to let the white person give you a narrative, then why are we ever having these discussions and trying to learn more about ourselves and trying to be more of who we supposed to be? If you want to say white, then okay, then do that. That's what you want to do. You know, you can't believe everything they tell you, because where have it gotten us? Huh?
I said nowhere.
Yeah, it hadn't gotten us anywhere. So my thing about the whole situation, this has been out there for a good long while, and I'm gonna keep digging. I'm not gonna say it's true or it's not true, but I'm gonna keep digging to find out, you know, if it holds anything. It's no different than when they used to would say there's no such thing as gator bait, and you got places in Florida and in Louisiana that sells these little trinkets and statues and plaques and different things of babies that they stole from their mamas and showing the gators. That's the gator bait. No different. But you know, you believe what you want to believe. You know, you love your white counterpart, then love your white counterpart. You can let them dictate your narrative all day long. I'm not saying that we ain't supposed to love other people, but it is what it is when it comes to our history. And I refuse to dismiss things that happened to us that wasn't by us. And we are the worst of the worst when it comes to that as well. You know, I wish our people would do a lot better than what they do when it comes to us, because you know, if we don't do right and we don't do better for our own, which they don't want us to, so you know, that's a fight in itself. But if we don't fight to try to do right, then how are we as people going to get along? How are we going to change the narrative? You're going to always have those so-called black people that's going to sit back in the cut and going to say, well, you know, it starts here, and we don't get along, and we ain't this and we ain't that and this, that, and the third. Okay, I get it. You're not the one that's wanting to help change things. You're not the one that want things to change. So even with that being said, if you don't want things to change, then keep your mouth closed. We don't want to hear that. We still talking. We still trying to find that narrative to where everybody that wants better, that's doing better. Everybody that wants to get along, get along. You people don't understand that narrative when you have white people, just like I saw on a TikTok today, where this white man said that the reason why blacks are in the position that they're in is because of poverty. That's not your place to say. You're saying a narrative that y'all have been screaming for the longest. Black people are on the come up more than less. Yes, we got those ones whose mindset that is not changing, they're not moving or getting anywhere in life, is because of how they are. You know, that's just, it is what it is. I have a relative that never been outside of, they think going to Memphis is going out of town. That like they've really been somewhere, and it's just up the street as far as I'm concerned. But that's just the way life is. You know, a lot of people think that. I remember watching people from another town getting themselves together, dressing up and everything like they really going somewhere, and they were only going an hour out to go to Memphis to go shopping. Are you serious? And I guess it was just my norm, and I didn't think any different. I just thought it was weird that they really thought they were going somewhere. And to me, going somewhere when I was staying in Mississippi was going to when I when I could say it now, when I snuck to Louisiana, or when I went to Atlanta, or when I went to Chicago. You know, when I was going doing what I thought I was going somewhere, because I wasn't where I didn't want to be, which was in Mississippi. So even with that, you know, we have to change the narrative. I don't know how to, and if you're not willing to change it, and if you want to think this way about black women, or you want to think this way about black men, then you know this ain't for you. There's nothing that you can say. It's not for you. Complaining and whining ain't gonna get you anywhere. So with that being said, just like New Year's, that is something that I did find, that New Year's was called Heartbreak Day for the slaves, because back then they call it heartbreak for the ugly fact that these people had to worry about the fact that they were selling off their families, or they would call it the hiring day. Now if you want to, that's in the Daily Beast, if you want to go and of that as well. But that was the time that these slaves were hiring them. And this is what the slave owners did. This was back in the 1770s, the late 1787. They sent these people, to be with other folks. And it was sad, that you have these families and you people will auction off to the highest bidder, and they weren't together. So that is some truth. I was looking at it and at all of that and how people, freedom wasn't free, with these people, no matter what was said or done. They did what they had to do and you had to work the rest of the year wherever they sent you. This was the propaganda. So understand, New Year's was the day of heartbreak for slaves. And that was the end of that. What time is it? For the labor. That's what I was going to say. It was because of the labor. And it was the time, and you could go to face-to-faceafrica.com also, because they talk about that as well. William Kirk, enslaved people spent New Year's Eve waiting, because New Year's Day was the day that these people would get the profits of what they wanted. And then, as we always do, when it was time to get out there and and do what we had to do as slaves, then that's what we did, because hard labor was just what it was, hard labor. A little week about it. New Year's Day, hiring day, heartbreak day.
I'm polar pause. These holidays, all these holidays represent something. We just got to dig and look for it. We don't get it now. All the holidays, always somehow, all the holidays, all the things that come, we celebrating it. Half a majority of us don't know what we celebrating. We just celebrate because it's on the calendar of what it's all about.
Yeah,
that's why I said we have come with lack of. We need to get knowledge. We need to start reading books and knowing about our history, and our eyes, so we can see things clearly. Because we don't like to read, and it's sad. We need to learn how to read. I was in that category too. I mean, now I'm reading. Get my hand and know about my history and what we come from. Because they can put it in movies. They do put it in movies. We just don't pay no attention in the movie.
But it's their narrative most of the time. Sometimes it's the truth, and then sometimes it's their narrative of what they want us to believe. Think about how many people really knew that Egyptians were white. How many people really knew that? The only reason why you thought that they were white because of what they showed you on TV with Elizabeth Taylor and them, and showing you that Cleopatra was a white lady, in which she wasn't. She was black. But those are the narratives of what, and what's sad, like I said, what's sad is the fact that these are the narratives that we run with and we go with. They made black people to be the most ugliest and savage people of this world, and that's the way we're looked at even today. And I mean, and it's sad when you don't want to do anything about it to try to change that. I say it all the time. It's sad when I listen at these different social media platforms, and all they talk about is pointing the finger and blaming, and nobody ever has a solution. And when I gave a solution, it was too easy, but it was too hard to do. I'm giving you a solution, and y'all don't. And it's just simple. Y'all want everybody to understand. I get it. I understand. I understand the plight of a black man. I have 4 brothers and a daddy. I understand the plight of a black man. I saw how my dad was treated. I saw how my brothers were treated. I seen all of this. I know the plight of a black man. Am I to understand it? I think I understand it more than most women. for the age that I am. When back in the day you had women who that walked in the coalitions and the different things that were going on, and they was right there with their men. I get that, but I'm talking about in this day and time, we have too many women that complain about things and the things that they wanted this way, and they're being selfish. You got black men who has taken certain words that now women look at as evil. It's like
Mm-hmm.
submitting. I think submitting can be a beautiful thing when it's done right between two people, but the communication has to be there. You shouldn't want a woman to be seen or not heard. If that's the case, then like they said, that's what the other races does. That's the only other race that does it. Them and the Asians and
Mm-hmm.
all of them. So if that's what you want, then go do that. I don't have no beef with you on that. You choose what you want to choose. But I'm not going to sit up and tolerate you looking down on me, trying to make me feel worse of the worst because I'm a black, beautiful woman. Black women are beautiful. They'll
Yeah.
never be anything less. Just because you chose different, that means that I'm not for you. And there's a lot of black women out here that just not for the type of black men that has fixed their mouth and said the bullshit that they said. Just like there's a lot of black men out here that are not for these black women that sit out here and say the bullshit that they say. Yeah, I get it on both sides. There's no unbalance to this. We both talking bullshit. Both, instead of communicating to understand and come with a resolution. If there's no revolution, then why are we saying anything at all? Why are we bringing it up? You just want to be heard? For what? What is the purpose of being heard, and you want to be understood if there's no communication the way that it needs to be in order to get clarity?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we have a problem now with. you know I just find it all ludicrous to me, that this narrative has been going on for now 2 years, and all they doing is saying the same stuff, and nobody's doing anything about it.
Right. Right. True.
It's a dark day of being black sometimes. That's why I always say we have to do better than what we do. But it's up to us to try to change that narrative. If we can't change that narrative to where we can make black love look great again, then what
Right.
else is it to do? And I feel sad for the generations up under us, is because of all of this stuff that they're saying, and by them being so diverse as they are, the strength of black people, the of the race of how it's supposed to be, it's gonna just like the numbers are depleting for them, the numbers for us is gonna deplete. There's gonna be a new race of kids, which is okay because kids are kids. They have no choice in being brought here and being in this life the way that they are. But if everybody else wants to stay within their own, I feel like we should too. But that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother time. I love my people. It has nothing to do with loving another race or anything. I love people because God said love people, but I love my race. And there's nothing wrong with that. They do. They race can be all wrong, and they still hold back with them. They still help them get jobs. They still hold them. Just like I sent a video of this white lady who just got out of her car and she shot a black man that was sitting. She got probation. And she felt like he did something wrong, and he just asked her a question. You shot that man because he asked you a question. Shame on you. And then you get mad because you talking about I hadn't even went to court yet, and y'all are judging me. What is there not to judge when it shows what you did? You got out the car, you shot this black man who asked a question for no reason. But the justice is blind. It's only blind to black people, and I'll keep saying that. I don't care how anybody think or what they say. These are my opinions and my opinions alone. Justice is blind. Yeah, justice work for us a little bit for certain things, or if they're using us as a way of hushing people down when they give justice. But on the most part, let there had been somebody, a black woman that did that, she'll probably, and it was a white man that she did that too. She will either be on death row or she'll be serving life in prison. Wouldn't be no in between. Point blank, simple. And you can compare those apples and oranges every time, and you're gonna always see that the apple wins over the orange, and it does, because this is the justice that they give, and this is their rules, their regulations, and that doggone what they say. And if you don't know the law and you're not able to maneuver in the law or understand the law when you have to use it, you ain't got no hope unless we change things. And I'll keep saying it as many times as I got to. The only way things can change is we hit them in the pockets. We got to hit them in their pockets in
True.
order for things to change.
I agree.
But a lot of people don't believe in buying black. They think the worst of black people because we out here, but we making millions. We're changing the game. You keep buying where you buying. And if they give you poor service and that's what you love, I like it. I like it all the time. I'm gonna keep talking to the ones that are black that's not doing their service right, and I'm gonna try to help them if they can be helped. If they can't, they can't. I'm gonna move on because I'm always have that faith and encouragement to try to build up minds because I don't have no other choice. This is my mission. I'm gonna always build up my own because they do it every day. What's wrong with us doing it?
Mm-hmm.
We had towns destroyed because of it, because we were building our own. They destroyed us. And because of that little fear, we can't build again. We're gonna always look crazy at each other and not build together. Okay. Well, I just go with the ones who will. And if that's the millennials or the Gen Z and there's no more hope for our generation with that because of the fear, then oh well. Have the courage to understand you ain't got don't say nothing of what the others are doing to build, because somebody got to show the young kids, the young blacks, that there is hope, there is a way, and talk is cheap. And if anybody want to get behind me and learn my method to my madness of trying to uh, stop buying and really truly boycotting to make the changes that need to be changed and shake them up, then let's go. Let's go. We ain't got to stand out there with picket signs and march and all that, because that bull crap don't do anything but bring on a rhetoric from them that means nothing. You wanna really see something savage? Hit them in their pocket and watch how they
Mm-hmm.
squirm. Watch how they do. Watch how the economy ends up working better for you, and they'll put some respect on your name. They will. Alois, you want to give your 2 cents?
My 2 cents about the Generate Z kid.
Uh-huh.
You are great, awesome, got lots of wisdom, lots of knowledge. No other with your wisdom, your knowledge, have found, so we can come together and be as one together. People, y'all got it. You got it there. You got the mind. You got the. I mean, you got all this talent and intelligence and wisdom. Use it wisely. Don't go out there and got it and don't use it. Because you can be a millionaire. You can be a billionaire. Go come together and one and do it. And now the other one with whatever we were talking about. I forgot.
We're just
Remind me.
talking about did you know? That was the title of it.
Oh, did you know? And the other
Mm-hmm.
one that you were talking about, this slave holidays, the different type of holidays. We need to have an open mind and start reading our history, especially holidays, because it's all about them. We holiday buying for them. They getting the money. We need to have our own holiday together and build on our holiday. Because the holiday we celebrate, they're not the true holiday. So we need to come together as one and let us black people work. That's what's wrong with we do not work together. We tear each other down and start building each other up. So we need to be united. We can have a fancy grocery store. We had all that before. Let's come
Mm-hmm.
together and work together as a family, not against each other. I have a plan for us. He have a plan for all of us. We just got to come together as one.
Yeah. And keep other people out your business when it comes to that. And when I say other people, that's not you. When you look in the mirror, they're not you. We come in a rainbow
Yeah.
of assorted of a beautiful array of colors. They're not us. And sometimes we have to stop thinking about they're gonna always tell you we supposed to all unite as they kill us. But
Mm-hmm.
we have to understand in order to unite with them, we first got to unite with us. It
Hey.
all starts in your own home. It all starts in, and that's what they usually say because home is a blackness. So it's got to start here. We got to learn how to get along here. We got to learn how to build here. We have to learn how to do all of that before we can go out there and start playing in the playgrounds with them and dealing and doing like we do. Because we don't never get nowhere. We don't never look how many years it's been going on since the slavery's been abolished and where we at now. And we still running the same dead gum circles and not getting nowhere. And when you
Yep.
die, you will come back. And guess what you're gonna have to do? I do all this all over again till you get it right. So you might as well try to get it right now. The one thing I don't want to do is leave this world and say I hadn't did the most or the best that I can to make the change that need to be done. Whether it's just in my own little world. Because my world is way more important than any world that we live in. Yes, I'm in the United States, but I'm not of the United States. I'm in my own world. I'm doing my own thing. I'm getting my thing. I'm making my happiness here. I'm not going to let the world and the news and stuff dictate happiness for me. Just not. And you shouldn't either. Yeah, you see it, you acknowledge it, you know it's there, you pray, you speak words over whatever happened to whoever, and you keep it moving and you live your world. You don't let the world tell you what you are or what you ain't. They don't that's not the deciding factor. You are. And we gotta do better with that. You let people somebody tell you unhappy and you get unhappy because they said it. When did they even matter? When they won't even pay a bill for you to have a pot to piss in. It don't work that way. Sorry. Not for me and mine. Do it work that way with you, Alo?
No, we sure don't.
All right. Then I know we on the same wavelength
Mm-hmm.
because we got goals. We got things we want for our people, and we working on doing what we have to do with us first in order to get there.
Yes.
So I plead with y'all. We got to do better. We just got to do better. There's no other way. You know, yeah, we shuck and jive and we laugh and we play and get little attitudes or whatever. But at the end of the day, when the grind comes, I'm for it, and you should be too.
Amen.
So black people do better. That was my 2 cents and then some. So next week we're gonna be talking about Alice. I am so
Yeah,
into doing. I really liked that movie. I'm just gonna say it like that. So if you haven't
I did.
watched Alice, watch Alice. And to Laraz, thank you for that recommendation of that movie. I just feel like it's something that needs to be talked about. I really like it. So go watch it. Watch it again. I gotta watch it another time. I don't watch it twice, so I gotta watch it again. So watch it again. To gain that understanding of, and it's based off a true story. So go on and watch it. I don't like the way it ended, but it is what it is. I wanted to see some
Yeah.
more justice, but that's not how it ended. But anyway, watch the movie. We're gonna have the discussion about it. Um, as I always say, leave the table if respect is no longer being served. Um, I mean that. Leave the table with respect is no longer being served. I'm a true believer in taking the justice scales and measuring the good with the bad. And if that bad outweighs the good, you know what you got to do for yourself. That's what matters.
Amen.
So see y'all next week Wednesday, and y'all
Bye.
enjoy your turkey days. You know, I know as you through cooking.
Not quite.
Not quite me neither. I can't believe after all these years I'm cooking. Even though I'm
No,
enjoying
not.
it, I'm really enjoying it in a sense. It's kind of irritating too at the same time for me, you know, because I'm going through some things in my head, but um, it's good to get back into something that I used to do all the time.
And that's
It's
true.
that's the only thing, you know, that I've came up with some other things that I like to do, um, that I'm working on. But yeah, so see y'all next week Wednesday, and y'all have a blessed night.
Bye. See you later.